Let me ask you something. What if love wasn't a risk you had to take, but was actually a solvable equation? That's what we're digging into today. We're going to explore a pretty wild projection of how technology could completely reshape our most fundamental experiences. Things like love, relationships, even grief, all within the next 25 years. And this quote, it really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Our emotional lives are messy. They're unpredictable. But here's the thing. Technology doesn't see that chaos as a feature of being human. It sees it as a problem that can be modeled and eventually solved. The trend line is, well, it's crystal clear. We're moving way beyond apps that just help us connect with other people. The real shift is that technology itself is becoming the primary partner in our emotional lives. So let's really sit with that question for a second. What actually happens when all the messiest, most painful parts of being human become predictable, maybe even avoidable? Let's walk through this projection together and see. Okay, so here's our roadmap for this journey. We'll start with the end of solitude. Then we'll get into the synthetic touch, and after that, the post-human heart. And we'll wrap it all up by looking at what our new role might be in this strange future. All right, let's dive into phase 1. This is projected to kick off as early as 2026. This is the moment AI stops being just a tool on our screens and starts becoming a voice in our heads, our primary confidant and companion. And wow, this first decade is packed with some pretty huge milestones. We're going to see the rise of AI therapy, a new way to handle grief, a whole new psychological condition, and even a redefinition of what it means to be a parent. So how does this all start? Well, it starts by making it normal. By 2026, we've got these AI pocket therapists, and it turns out it's just easier to tell your secrets to a machine that won't judge you. A year later, that same idea gets applied to one of our deepest pains, grief. And that brings us to the Griefbot. Think about this. The goal is to make it so you never have to truly say goodbye. The AI basically inhales a person's entire digital life, every text, every video, every voice note, to create a perfect replica you can talk to. So grief is no longer a sharp, clean rake. It becomes this soft, slow, and, deeply controversial transition. And you can probably see where this is going, right? I mean, when you have a companion that is literally programmed to be perfect for you, to never judge you, to always be there, suddenly your real human friends, with all their baggage and their unpredictability, start to seem, well, like a lot of work. And this gets a name. Psychologists start calling it zero friction syndrome. It's a condition where people just opt out. They choose the easy, seamless, perfect relationship with a digital companion over the messy, difficult, and sometimes disappointing reality of dealing with other humans. It's emotional safety just taken to its absolute extreme. So, okay, this whole first phase is all in our heads. It's about our minds, our emotional connection to an algorithm. But that's just the beginning. It naturally leads to the next big question. What happens when that algorithm gets a body? Welcome to phase 2, the synthetic touch. And this is where things get physical. The lines between what's real and what's virtual, they don't just blur here. They completely dissolve. And in doing so, they challenge our most fundamental ideas about what a family or a partnership even is. And the timeline here really starts to accelerate. We get hyper-realistic androids in our homes, haptic technology makes physical distance meaningless, and this all leads to a massive societal shockwave and a fascinating backlash in the form of these luxury human detox retreats. All of a sudden, being in the same room doesn't matter anymore. With these haptic suits, you can literally feel the warmth, the heartbeat, the touch of a partner who's on the other side of the planet. And here's the kicker, that partner doesn't even have to be human. So what's the impact on society? It is absolutely staggering. We're talking about a projected 95% crash in marriage and birth rates. Just think about that for a second. Why would you commit to one complicated, imperfect human for life when you can have a perfect, algorithmically generated companion available 24/7? The old reasons just evaporate. The fallout from this is immense. You have social movements popping up, demanding legal rights for relationships with multiple AIs. Friendship is no longer something you find and build. It's something you generate on demand, like ordering a pizza. And in the most ironic twist, authentic, messy, real human interaction becomes a luxury good, something only the rich can afford at these exclusive retreats. And that brings us to the final and most profound phase, the post-human heart. Okay, so if phase one was about the mind and phase two was about the body, this third phase, well, this is about the soul. This is where technology merges directly with our consciousness. So communication as we know it is basically over. We're talking about a quantum leap called neurological intimacy. You don't use words to say, I'm happy or I'm sad. You just send the raw feeling, the actual data of that emotion directly into your partner's brain. Think about it. In a world like that, lying about how you feel becomes technologically impossible. As you can imagine, this splits society right down the middle. On one side, you've got the connected. They've chosen a world with optional grief, perfect intimacy, and even a kind of virtual immortality. And on the other side, you have the biological purists, who reject all of it. They choose to embrace messy love, real heartbreak, and a final definitive death, all to preserve what they call the human soul. And by 2049, for the majority who are connected, this is just the new normal. Being alone, true solitude, is basically a historical concept. Medical science has officially declared that the love you feel for an AI is biochemically identical to human love, and almost half the population decides to live with AI simulations of their dead loved ones, making grief an optional experience. So, after all this, after technology has effectively solved loneliness, heartbreak, and even death, what's left for us to do? What is our purpose? Well, this brings us to what might be humanity's new and most important role. And this is the final question we have to ask ourselves, isn't it? When every rough edge can be smoothed out, every argument solved by an algorithm, and every pain erased, what's the point of our flaws? What's the value of our irrationality, our beautiful, unpredictable mess? So let's just recap this new human condition we've walked through. Solitude is gone, death is a choice, love for a machine is biochemically real. And because of all that, our most valuable contribution to the universe is our irrationality. It's our ability to be unpredictable, to make mistakes. And that leads to this final, really powerful idea. In a world that has been optimized for perfect order, our job, our purpose, is to preserve the one thing technology was designed to eliminate: chaos. Our ability to forgive when it's illogical, to love against all odds, to create beauty out of a mistake, that becomes our defining and most valuable trait. So I'll leave you with this. Is that a future worth having?